So our topic is Samuel, what we learned with deep insight. So we are going to go to First Samuel chapter 1, verse 1. There was a man named Elkanah from the tribe of Ephraim. Elkanah was the father of Prophet Samuel, and he was from the tribe of Ephraim, which is among the tribes of Israel, who lived in the town of Ramah in the hill country of Ephraim. He was the son of Jehoram, and grandson of Elihu, and belonged to the family of Tohu, a part of the clan of Zeph. So we can clearly see this is the origin of the father of Samuel. Okay? So Elkanah had two wives. That's verse 2. Chapter 1, verse 2. Elkanah had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah did not. So listen carefully, because pay attention, because I'm going to explain something at the end. Verse 3. Every year Elkanah went from Ramah to worship and offer sacrifices to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh, where Hophni and Phinehas, the two sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. So every year Elkanah went from Ramah to worship and offer sacrifice to the Lord. There was a temple, a tent where they worship the Lord, you know. So each time Elkanah offered his sacrifice, he would give one share of the meat to Peninnah and one share to each of her children. You understand? So Elkanah gave one share to Peninnah, because she had children. But Hannah, in verse 5, we see even though he loved Hannah very much, he would give her only one share because the Lord had kept her from having children. She didn't have children. So Peninnah, who is her rival, would torment and humiliate her. That is verse 6. Because the Lord had kept her childless. Verse 7. This went on year after year. Whenever they went to the house of the Lord, Peninnah would upset Hannah so much that she would cry and refuse to eat anything. This is oppression. Her husband Elkanah would ask her, Hannah, why are you crying? Why won't you eat? Why are you always sad? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? So here, do you know what we get here? What we understand deeply here is, Hannah was childless, but Peninnah had children. So, but Peninnah, instead of Peninnah to stay in her perimeter, you know what I mean, right? Like instead of her to be maybe kind, not maybe, to be kind, to be loving towards Hannah, as they are the two wives of Elkanah, she began to torment and humiliate her because Hannah was childless, and which made Hannah cried and refused to eat. So here the situation is, sometimes you may be going through some things and you will feel like you are passing through something that is too much for it to bear. Because don't forget that the Lord always say he never give us things that are more than us. Like he don't give us things that is too much for us to bear. We can definitely overcome it, not on our own strength. Because if you notice, it broke her. So you may be going through something that people will humiliate you because they have what you actually lack, and you feel bad and you don't eat. You see how she didn't eat, though she might have food, not that she lacks food. You go through a lot of things and you begin to wonder, God, why? God, why? Why does this person has this and I don't have? Not a matter of comparison, you understand, but you really lack it. You understand? And we go on to verse 9. You understand? I'm trying to explain something. This is what the deep insights we have. One time, after they had finished their meal in the house of the Lord at Shiloh, Hannah got up. She was deeply distressed and she cried bitterly as she prayed to the Lord. You get, she went to the house of the Lord, with Elkanah, the yearly, Elkanah goes yearly to the house of the Lord. So after eating their meal in the house of the Lord, Hannah got up. She was distressed and she cried bitterly as she prayed to the Lord. Meanwhile, Eli the priest was sitting at his place by the door. Hannah made a solemn promise. Lord Almighty, look at me, your servant. See my trouble and remember me. Don't forget me. If you give me a son, I promise that I will dedicate him to you for his whole life and that he will never have his hair cut. You know, a sign of dedication to the Lord in Numbers chapter 6, verse 5. You understand? In Numbers, the Lord said, dedication to him, the men must not cut their hair. Then I'm trying to explain something, okay? Hannah continued to pray to the Lord for a long time, and Eli watched her lips. She was praying silently. Her lips were moving, but she made no sound. So Eli thought that she was drunk, and he said to her, "Stop making a drunken show of yourself. Stop your drinking and sober up." He didn't know what's going on. Here we what we discovered here is, do not judge by what you see. Like, do not conclude, do not assume on conclusions. I know he was a priest, but this is a call for us to not assume and conclude that if you see someone acting this particular way, you have to get closer to them to understand what they are doing. Don't assume and don't conclude. Try to know before you make your an assumption. This is in verse 12, chapter 1, verse 12 to 14. That is where he tell her to stop her drunken show of herself. He thought she was drunk because her lips were moving, right? Yeah, her lips were moving, but she wasn't saying, she was praying silently. So he watched her lips. Her lips were moving, but she made no sound. She made no sound. So this is a call for us to stop judging from afar. Get close to the person and listen to what the person ask questions. Why? Like, when he could have asked, why are you drunk? Or is there any problem? To be sure. You understand? See, she was moving her lips and she wasn't saying anything. That's why it is a call for us. If you see someone acting bizarre, do not assume, don't conclude. Get close and ask questions. Sometimes it might be dangerous to get close and ask questions sometimes, I know, but you have to pray in your heart. If you're outside, or wherever you may be, you have to pray. If you're outside, you can pray out, but if you're in a room or whatever, just pray in your heart, or you can pray out loud if you want to. And you have to able to ask God to discern and know if you should ask questions or not, because sometimes it might be a trap. So in verse 15, she says, "No, I'm not drunk, sir," she answered. "I haven't been drinking. I am desperate and I have been praying, pouring out my troubles to the Lord. Don't think I am a worthless woman. I have been praying like this because I'm so miserable." You see why it's not good to assume or conclude? You see how she have to bring down herself and say, "Don't think I'm a worthless woman. I've been praying like this because I'm so miserable." Sometimes you might not know what's going on in the life of people. And so that's why it's good to have a good approach as a Christian, the gift of the Spirit. You have to be loving, kind. You have to approach the person you have to be, there's a way someone will approach you they won't, and sometimes even if you approach people well, they might still feel bad like because you don't know what they're going through.